record. We're recording in progress. So yes, so this is one of my best-selling paintings. It's like a painting that's sold, that is so best-selling, I've painted it probably. It's a photo that I took of the year I lived in New York City. I lived in a beautiful brownstone, and I loved it so much. And this was my apartment here. And I took a picture looking up. The whole year I spent living in New York City, I was looking up all the time. It was kind of this epic way. So I have painted this in virtually every color combination you can imagine. Lana asked at the beginning of class, would I share my colors? And I'm like, yes, but I'm not going to share them till the end of class. Because if you decide to paint this, you're going to make decisions about, I will walk you through painting this. I'm going to paint it, but you're going to make decisions about what colors you use. So I will share the colors of this particular painting. Trying to get this kind up so we can get everything in it. There we go. All right. So I'm using an 8 by 10 inch board. Sheet, actually. You can use something different if you like. One of the things I want to talk about with this painting that we're going to start sketching is the concept of the vanishing point. Does anybody know what the vanishing point is? What is the vanishing point? What is that? Christina, you're nodding your head yes. What's a vanishing point?
It's where all the lines converge, I guess.
Right. So when you're looking at something in the distance, our eyes have something called cone vision, which means that and cone vision, I believe, is the brain's response. You know, let's back up just a second. So you know the brain is organizing what you're seeing all the time, right? The brain is kind of making decisions about what you see and what you don't see all the time. It's taking many little pictures and it's putting them together in a particular way to help you understand the world. That's why when you take drugs and you sort of disrupt those processes, your literal what you see changes, right? Like that's like one of the things that happens. We have this and my belief is that one of the most important processes we have is cone vision, which is the way of seeing in which we can determine things are farther away from us. So because of cone vision, and then cone vision has a very particular impact when you translate it from 3 dimensions to 2. So with cone vision, as you're looking up towards something, your things are rising up and they're getting smaller. In a very simple way, that's like this. Looking for a blank piece of paper here. Hang on. Right. In a very simple way, that's like this. Right? So you learned how to do this when you were a kid, right? How to draw a road going away from us. We know that this road isn't actually smaller, that it's probably the same size as here. But we know that it looks smaller as it goes away from us. We know that this road doesn't rise up off the ground. We know that it stays flat, right, intellectually. But cone vision, as things get farther away from us, they get smaller and they slant upwards. So if you want to think about this in terms of a cube, right? Remember how to draw a cube?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this side, and this side are all the same size. It's a cube. They're all the same size, but they don't look the same size to us. These sides are smaller and they're slanted up. And they're slanted, right? Because they're moving away from us. So even though these sides, this side are the same size as this, they don't look the same size as this. So the question becomes, how do I determine where my slant goes? And the slant is the vanishing point. Okay, the vanishing point is here. So in this picture, this is what we call single point perspective.
Okay.
It means that everything goes, well, everything should go to a single vanishing point. You're going to see in this case that I didn't quite get that right when I was painting this. But you guys are going to get that right, and you're going to correct for that when you paint your own painting. So what do I mean by that? Where is my, I tell you, everything is in a different place than it normally is. Give me a second. I'm going to grab a Sharpie. Okay. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if we are looking up in one direction, every single one of these lines should go to the same point, just like a road. So let's see what that looks like. That means
You get your point first?
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, pretty much. Great question. Sorry, here, hold on, I'm gonna, right? Yeah, you get your point first. And usually it's a little harder to tell. Oops, shoot, that wasn't quite right. Here, hold on, let me get that into the right space. There we go. Okay, so we have there and here. So the point is usually where if you're looking at something straight on, the point is usually like in this road. The point is usually at what we call the eye level horizon, right? Which is where the land meets the sky. That's usually where it is if you're looking up. Here, we actually find it by getting the angle of, seeing where the angle of these two windows meets. And in this particular case, the vanishing point is right there. Kind of like right actually in the center of the top.
So where's eye level?
There's no eye level here.
Okay, all right.
Because we're looking up. I mean, there's no, I can't define, it's in the sky here.
Okay, all right. I had a hard time with that concept last week and I
so
couldn't find a lesson on it.
That's why I'm saying this is a different concept, but basically what it is I'm determining my vanishing point by taking these two and seeing the slant where they meet in the middle.
Okay, okay.
And then I'm going to do the same thing here. So you're going to see here where my painting is a little bit off. Oh.
Okay.
But if you'll see, oh, you're right. It's all coming back to me, Diana. You're right. We had a whole conversation about it.
Yes.
Right. What was happening over here? Blah, blah, blah. Yep. Got it. I remember it. So if you can see as you're establishing your windows and where they are, they come within these angles. Now, each of these angles is different. It's not the same, but it all goes to this point. So when I'm sketching like this, when I'm resketching this like this on here, and here, let me take a picture of this so you guys have this. God, how could I forget that? There's a very vigorous.
You have Sandra and me for your memory.
It has a very vigorous discussion. All
That
right.
is my rendering.
Thank you for reminding me. All right, so we're doing it and yeah, it looks good. So now we're doing it. So we're going to do a couple of things to locate where this is. That looks good, Sandra. I like it. Just got rid of the building on the other side. She was like,
It's because we had a lot of questions about what that's supposed
yeah,
to look
what
like.
that was and what
But
was.
edge, yeah, but edge, there's something slightly wrong about it.
Yep, I remember. Hold on, I'll get to these two. And also there was a problem with the perspective on this side, which you guys will see.
Which is the camera.
Yeah, which was the camera. Because I was like, I can't be that far off, but it was the camera. All right. So the idea is that every single one of these lines, although the angle is different, it goes to the same vanishing point. So when I come over here to my paper, my canvas, and I'm wanting to determine where things are, I noticed where the lines start and end, right? So here, oh, so I'll find my vanishing point first, which is going to be right in on the top.
In the center?
Yep.
Okay.
One. Nope, that's
Ooh. Diana, what are you working on?
I'm working on those sailboats.
on that until
I did
wait on that until I finish with the instruction, only because it can be a little bit distracting. Yeah, so the vanishing point is kind of right in the middle here. You can see I have it marked off. And then I'm looking at where the lines for my windows on this side start here. And I mark them here. So when I take my ruler, all I need to do is line up with the vanishing point and my starting point here. Stay at the same vanishing point and my starting point here. Although now that I look at this, I'm wondering if this is higher. Yep. Okay. So I got a little sloppy with my lines. Oh, hang on, where's my electric razor? That's what I need for this.
Yeah, I want to see your electronic razor today.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Here we go. So don't do what I just did. Here we go. Look at that.
Wow.
All gone. Not all gone, but mostly gone. Way more gone than when I try to use my regular eraser. Oh, so useful. Such a game changer. All right. Let me be a little bit more careful about where I locate these. So this is fairly close to my edge. Here's my edge. This is fairly close. Yep, there we go. And then 1, 2. It's like, I want to be more precise. I'm going to start this here closer to the edge of my paper. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 2.5 of this distance up. Find my location up. Oh yeah, that's much better. So now I put a line in here. And then I just and a line from there. That looks better. So my windows on this side are going to be contained in that box, in this trail. Let me take a picture of this so we can see it. And then, so even though in some ways this is mentally challenging, it's much easier than, there is a logic to it that's really beautiful. Like super stellar, super beautiful. Right? And then here, I can see that if I come kind of right down to the middle, if I come right down to the middle here, that like, really one side is about the same as, so I come straight down from the middle, the vanishing point right here. And then this side is about the same as this measurement. So I can go to here, take that measurement, use that. And then this side is a little bit larger, comes a little bit wider. So I can mark that there, a little bit wider than this. And then once again, I can draw my track for my middle windows. Oh my God, there we go. Yep. There and there. And then the last one kind of winds up on this side. So this is, oops, there's a seam here. So this is like, I don't know. It's one, this is like 1.5 the times the size of this distance. So I'll come here, like that, and then another halfway like this. So it's like this plus another half. Notice that this edge doesn't, that this edge comes up here, probably the same distance. So here's my last.
You should raise your camera a little bit.
I can't get both of them, so I have to go back and forth. What do I need?
I had it too low so you couldn't see the top of the picture.
Okay. I don't know why it's fighting me today. There we go. Like that? That better?
Yeah, it's better.
I mean, I have to scoot them, or I have to scoot it around. I can do this a little bit. Do that. So it's a little closer. So here's that last edge. That last edge kind of comes here and here. And then once again, goes to the same vanishing point. So I've got these little, and then if you want to do the last building size here, you just come up 1, 2, like double this size. So I go 1, 2, and this is the building. I agree with you, Diana. I think the camera totally skewed that perspective because it's not like me to get something that off.
I think it's the camera.
It's, yeah, I agree with you. Yes. Because I was like, afterwards, I was like, how could I be so off? Off nose. So here is your, and I'm really going to mark my dots so you can see them where they are in relation to each other. So you can see where the starting points are and the finishing. Here. Here is the end product. There we go. All right, now, Sandra and Diana, what are you working on?
I'm gonna do a fox. And I sent one to Diana on our private chat.
Excellent. Diana, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna see if I can finish those boats.
Yeah. Hi, Tosh. Nice to see you. Hello.
Oh,
So you might have done this exercise before. If so, you don't have to work on it. You can totally, I'm gonna have you start a painting on this, but if you don't feel like doing it, you can totally work on any of the other paintings that you've got going.
No, I like this. I think when we did this in drawing class, I was just watching because I wasn't feeling that well, so I'm excited.
We did the watercolor. We did it as a watercolor. That's what I was reminded. So in the Friday,
That's what we did.
yeah. Yeah, which I totally forgot about until Diana and Sandra reminded me, and Sandra sent her finished painting across, which is nice. Really fun to see.
I made up the colors, by the way, for the guys.
Yeah,
who want
I'm
to-
asking everybody to do the same thing.
Yes, I don't want them to think that these are the actual colors.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually show everybody what the colors are at the end.
Yeah, you said you did this many times, right? Which version was this one?
This is the last one. Great one. Great question asked. The last one. I did this last one 5 years ago. I haven't really painted it since until today. And that one hung around for a while, and finally somebody bought this one, which the original is like 24 by 30 inches, I think last year. So it's the last one kind of hanging around in this series. And I did them all different sizes, all different colors. I loved this view. I think this is like kind of, to me, this is New York. Like, this is absolutely New York. And then once, okay, well, I'll wait till you guys start to send it across. Or something. I don't know why I'm having so much problems doing this today.
So the sailboats, Leah, are they an unsplash picture or what is it?
That's an unsplash picture. Yeah, yeah. So you'll see when I use an unsplash picture, I always credit in the video, you'll see the total, the full photo capture. The photographer needs to be credited if you're using it. So, and you need to say by so-and-so courtesy of blah, blah, blah. I'm happy to send you that name if you want. Okay. Yeah, it's, but you could probably also find it by going to Unsplash and searching sailboats, which is I think what I did, but I will find it. I save all the names now.
I had no idea you had to credit them, but that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's what they say. Pat, I can't see the top of your canvas.
Oh, okay.
I can't see where your vanishing point is.
I'm going to Lisa after class.
To give the painting that I get to pick up, I get to buy. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
What did you say,
I'm
Diana?
buying one of her paintings.
Oh, right.
Who's?
Mine.
Diana's.
On this, who you said, whose painting you were buying?
Diana's.
Oh,
Diana was working on this for a while. Diana was working on illustrating a book, and in the book, a cat was supposed to be shown. An orange cat was supposed to be shown in different locations around the U.S. And she did the most adorable painting of a little orange cat draped over a knee of the Lincoln Memorial. And I couldn't get it out of my mind. I have to. It's a really great painting. Unfortunately, the project became untenable. We won't say anything more about it on the but I was like, I want that painting. I want that painting really badly.
So you were lucky in a way, Leah, but that
I'm
fell
so
through.
lucky, right? Exactly. I'm totally lucky. Absolutely.
They've asked me a couple of times since if I changed my mind, and I said no. I have not changed my mind.
They were too annoying and bossy.
So
Yeah.
Pat, I just want you to know that I messed up one of my lines and you're gonna need to fix it too. But you were the
okay.
one who did it. I used the wrong line. And I'm sorry you don't have an awesome electric eraser like I do. Look at that. God, it's amazing.
Let's see it again.
I just, here, I'll just erase something else so you can see it. Look at that. I'm like, I just got rid of this whole line that was here.
Wow.
The flash.
I'm gonna get one.
So excellent. Sorry. So I went to the wrong, and you're going to need to go up a little bit. You're going to need to go a little bit up higher on your right side, but just so that you know. Oh my fucking God, I made the same mistake again. Here.
I think you can save it on recording,
You
Leah.
just wanted to reuse the eraser.
Oh, that's okay. I always say that these are not for kids. Here, hold on. All right, thank God for the electric recording. Here, hold on. Okay, so that's there. Oh, so what happened was my electric eraser was so good it erased my new Vanishing Point dot. So that needs to come up a little higher. Yeah, there we go. So Pat, as you're correcting, or did you send me the picture?
No.
I don't see the Vanishing Point. I can't.
Oh,
see.
no, I sent it to you.
Oh, you sent me on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I sent it a second time.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, but this, you have to bring this guy up a little higher. And you have it at very close to, it has to be one, so if I measure this space here, from here to the edge,
Right,
1, 2, 2.5.
2.5. Okay.
Yeah, and I had it at 2, so, yep. Okay, let's see, Christina. Hold on, Christine, I'm having a hard time seeing it. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me.
Thank you.
That looks good. So
It is impossible to erase the pencil line though.
it's possible with an electric eraser.
My list with my new pastels.
Just saying, impossible with an electric eraser. I'm just saying. Okay, and then in this particular case, compositionally, I really preferred having a lot of sky, almost as much sky, a little bit less sky. So I came up right above the halfway point to draw my horizontal line straight across, right? So there's my building. Here's the size of my building. So all of the lines for your windows are going to go straight across. These are absolutely straight. They're lined up together. Can you see this? Lined up like this, right? And Christina's already kind of figured it out. Notice a couple of other things. Let's see if I've got this right. 1, 2. Yeah, so in a lot of man-made subjects, you'll see that the window that's farther away is about twice the size, is about half the size of the window close up. So if you look at this window up here, you'll see it's about half the size of this one, half the height of this one, right? That because things are kind of in symmetrical places. So I can come up to about, let's say, here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll draw a second line to get my gargoyle. This will be the line to get all these beautiful markings in here. And then under here, I know that if I end my window here, my second one will be half. Okay, so I need to bring this down a little bit lower. It's a little bit bigger. Window is here, so from here, oh yeah. Oh yeah, even a little bit lower. I'll explain my kind of method here.
Is that at the bottom of the arch?
Yeah, I'm not including the arch. So you need to
Okay.
have room for the arch and a little bit of space between the window too, right? So yeah,
Okay.
I'm going from like here. So if you look, if I go from here to here and I come up, so from here, really mark it so you can really see it. So from here to here, right, which is where the last flat line is. If I go straight up, you're going to see with another length, that's the top of the next flat line. 1, 2. So if I go from here to here, this is where my second window, this is the top of my first window. From here to here, the flat part. This is the top of my second window. And that means I need a bit of space here in between so I can show my arch, which is a curved line like that above.
Are they that close in the painting?
They're a little bit farther. I might have made the arch too big. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yep, that's about right. And then I know this can come straight across, right? Like this. I know that these lines. There's all this like finicky deciding where things are. Maybe I'll bring this up a little bit. Do this. So I'm raising up my side just a little. I'm going to raise up the top of my roof just a little higher. There we go. So I have more room for my windows. This up a little higher.
My problem is I don't know where you're getting the first measurement about how high that first window is.
I'm guessing.
You're
I'm
guessing.
by
Okay.
looking.
Okay.
I'm guessing by looking, and then I'm adjusting.
All right.
That's what's going on. I'm guessing by looking, and then I'm adjusting. So
Not
that's
my best quality.
right. See, well, you get better at it as you do it more. So I'm using the measurements I can. You've noticed I've adjusted twice for height and things like that. Also, yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine.
But you're not doing the bottom of the window. Oh, no. Oh, the line is the bottom of the window. Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yep, yep. Yes. Exactly. So this little curve is kind of an important and fun thing to put in here. But this is what people mean when they say, you know, an art professor says they, you know, when somebody who teaches art and knows art, this is what they mean when they say they can tell a photograph when you're painting from a photograph. So I'm showing you how to correct a photograph. Yeah. And then from here, indeed, yep. Here's the top of the curve. It's in tight.
Thank you.
It's very, it rained here for the first time in like, since June.
Lucky you.
Oh, great. We
Yeah,
had a huge rainstorm here yesterday, and I think it was the Henry.
I remember you talking about that because we actually talked about it later. I was like, it's raining in Washington, DC.
Because it passed offshore here before hitting New York this morning. But we were lucky because it was offshore, so it just brought torrential rain. But you know,
Right, rain's
I
over.
haven't seen how New York is faring.
I think it's slowing down a little bit.
Because it made landfall near Rhode Island, so maybe New York got spared a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. But I haven't followed it closely.
No, neither have I. I'm glad it didn't come here.
I'm glad for you.
I think I heard that on NPR, they stopped the ferries and they stopped the, wouldn't let anybody cross the water. I think that was New
Because
York.
it looked bad initially. They said we had a tropical storm warning, but then it regained the strength of the water. So it became a hurricane again this morning, last time I checked. But we're lucky.
let's face it, we're just fiddling, right? Rome is burning, we're fiddling. Now it's all going to be about how we respond to every environmental disaster.
Yeah, it's difficult to say whether this is global warming because they get hit regularly. I mean, we do, and New York does. Usually we're just lucky because usually it hits the Carolinas, frankly, or Florida.
Right.
And then as soon as it goes on land, it loses power. But if it veers beforehand, then it's underwater. And if it's warm water, it regains strength. But I think they've always been on the receiving end, occasionally.
Yeah. I remember because when I was a reporter in North Carolina, which is the reason I am here in front of you guys today. I was a reporter in North Carolina 20 years ago. We used to keep our car packed with all kinds of food and batteries and flashlights and stuff and computers. So because we would have to go out into a storm to report on it.
Right.
Going on. So we always had to have stuff in our car. Shit happened.
Yeah, that's not a nice way to live. Our Florida stuff used to be like that until Reuters, in its wisdom, closed down Florida.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so
all the people were expert. Sorry.
I have other things. So Pat is asking about how do I know where to put things, right? One of the things to notice, so one of the things I want you to notice about here is that in this window, the halfway point is here and the second halfway point is here. So if you look up here, this half is the same size as this half. Why do you suppose that is? Why is it not more centered? Why is this part not equal in size, in height? Why?
The top window is farther away.
Away already.
Exactly. So keep that in mind as you're doing this. So if you're now wanting to find the halfway point for here, so that will be the halfway point between here and the bottom. So here's where the bottom, so this top pane is going to be a little bit shorter, is really all I wanted to point out there.
You don't use a ruler to figure that out.
I'm
right?
just, you see how I'm doing this
Yeah.
here? Yeah, I'm kind of eyeballing it, but I am using the ruler to see. I can't read this ruler because everything has been covered in paint, but I do use it to I do use it to draw the straight line. That helps. So that's also to keep in mind. So, and in this particular case, if I remember correctly, the windows, well, you get to make that decision. You can, in this particular case, why did I make those windows shorter? I'm wondering why. Oh, some of them were open. So you can make these different lengths if you want to sort of indicate a shorter and longer, or you can also kind of make the bottom bigger and the top smaller. It's up to you. And of course, as you draw in these white lines, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to line up with your vanishing point, right? To get your kind of edges like that. So what's nice is once you kind of get decide the vanishing point, you do have some help in where how all these different pieces kind of line up in the center. Is anybody finding this helpful?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, I promise this is the last time I will teach this exercise. I actually had found this really cute sort of Greek village scene I was going to do. We'll do it next week. Little cottages on the beach and stuff, but I couldn't find it this morning on my computer, so I'll have to go re-find it. So next time we'll do something totally different, something rustic and charming, still city, but you know, like beach city on the coast kind of thing. So you're gonna have some options here. And if you want to, you can put in these. I loved these. There was this beautiful tree outside. So here's my bedroom right here. And there was this beautiful tree outside. This is Brooklyn. Brooklyn is actually very tree-y. I lived on a little street called Lefferts Place. It was right off Clinton and Washington Street. And it was magic. Like this street was magic. And there were all these big, beautiful elm trees. And so this is the tree that I could see. My bed was like right in there, and I could look out the window and see this beautiful tree kind of rising up. It was a very magical place. Very, very beautiful. I got very lucky to be there. There's no way in hell I could have afforded this place on my own, but I had a friend who owned the building. And her, in 2010, right before I moved to New York, there was a little tornado that whipped through New York and just took the 4 roofs of her houses and the next 4 houses in mine off her building. So she was unable to rent either space, and she just asked me how much I could afford, and I named a ridiculously low rent. Now, this apartment goes for like $6,000 a month.
Oh my God.
But at the time I was paying $1,000 a month for it. Like it was insane. It was insane. It has a clawfoot tub. It had a dishwasher. It had a washer and dryer, and it had 2 big rooms and a tiny kitchen with like those fireplaces with the curly, the curly kill, this sort of classic Brooklyn brownstone with a lady's head statue on each side. It was really amazing. Toshmi is like, oh my God, I can't even imagine how you could have, it's insane. Tosh, I get it that this was like a unicorn situation.
I'm gonna go and look for it.
Well, you need the address. Give her the address.
Where do you live, Tosh?
It's very close to me, actually. I live in Lefferts Garden.
Oh yeah, we're like right across. Yeah, very close. So
It's like the next neighborhood down.
Yep. So Lefferts Place. So it was, I think it was 18 Lefferts Place. I'll
You say
remember.
Leopard's Place?
Lefferts. No, not leopards. I wish. Here, I'll type it in the chat. I think it was 18
Move in.
Lefferts Place. It was magic. It's funny. My friend she doesn't live there anymore, and she rents it out, and she keeps telling me she's going to sell it. But I'm like, it has this beautiful backyard. It's so beautiful. And she keeps saying she's going to sell it. Yep. Looks good, Tosh. Just keep going. So now just keep going across. These look good. Good job, you guys.
I'm gonna show you where I'm at.
Yes,
I have a long way to go,
Elbow painting, it looked like it was almost done.
but it's not.
Yes, I thought you were almost done.
All right,
Now I'll show you next picture.
let us be the judge of that.
I'm notorious for just painting and painting and painting.
Leah, speaking of judging,
Yeah,
Charlotte agreed with you.
right?
She's going to tell me what the hell that actually means on another day.
You don't want to mess with it too much. You don't want to mess with success too much, Pat.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You just
She
don't
said
want-
there's no way you could actually make it look like the view you were looking at, but in an abstract way.
it's a magical, there was a little bit of magic. Yep, absolutely. Diana, this is done, lady, done. All you need to do is glaze it twice.
No,
Here's my suggestion.
it's perfect.
Yeah, glaze it. Here, listen, if you're bothered, do a phthalo blue glaze over everything.
Why?
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful.
And then listen to me. Here's the directions. Do a phthalo blue glaze over everything and wipe off the warm areas, okay? So that it doesn't really stick. And then if you're still bothered, do an ochre glaze over everything and wipe off the cool areas. And you're done.
Okay.
Yeah,
You think?
I
But
think,
what will it do, Leah, to glaze it?
now come on. I'm not gonna answer that one. I'm not answering that question. You all know what it'll do. It's going to unify all the
But
fragments.
why do we need to unify?
Because it looks a little bit, I know what the problem is. I know why she has an issue with this. It is, there are a couple places where you need more unity. So Diana, try a phthalo blue glaze over everything and take a cloth and wipe off the yellow and the pinks and the oranges. And then do an ochre glaze over everything and wipe off the blues.
Okay.
Okay? Trust me, it needs a little
Right.
unity. It does. I know exactly what she's saying, but it's mostly done. Really where the unification needs to happen is in this shadow, this reflection of the big sailboat in the front, but everything could use a touch of.
Yeah, and that reflection, I feel like I should actually work a little bit more on.
Just glaze it and see it, glaze it twice and
Better
see
before.
glaze it. So Sandra, sorry. So Sandra, that's what the glaze will do. The glaze will create a feeling of cohesiveness because really color like kind of reflects everywhere. So if you have a red apple sitting on a green table, the part of the apple will be green and part of the table will be red, right? Because
Right.
those things are next to each other. So when you put a glaze on, it it's sort of, there's little bits of that color everywhere. And really the dominant color here is phthalo blue, right? So it leaves little tiny bits of it, but not enough to distract from the lights is my, it's really hard to put an answer like in words on that question, but I think that's the closest I can get to doing it. It's like doing a sepia filter on your phone. It just pulls everything together because then you have these little bits of color that are everywhere. And that's how we really see things. You know what I'm saying? But you know, glazing, the other thing about glazing is it does things we don't really even expect it to. So one of the things that I'm always throwing in the mix is let's do something unexpected. Right? Like, let's see what this does. This will probably do a lot of the work for you, but I'm not exactly sure how or why. And that is, it's funny, yesterday in class, somebody said, what happens when you have an idea in your head and you can't?
Oh, that was Cyrus.
Right, Cyrus. And I was thinking about that question very deeply.
Wow.
Because sometimes the problem is a technique problem. It's because you don't have the technical drawing skill or you don't write. Like sometimes it's a technique problem. But other times it's I can't let go. You know, there is an actual process that's beyond you and what you can envision. And so part of that is to let that happen.
I totally agree.
Yeah, you know, like, so it's a balance, like it's a real balance, like how to, when to go, okay, I actually need to know how to do this to make this work, or, right, like I need, it's just an interesting question. It's like a different, like, it's a good question. That's why I really focus on technique, because I feel like that's where most people are kind of missing, right? That's where most people struggle. But having watched Carista Trask teach, you know, 12 abstract art classes, I can see that other things are at play too, like emotions, like letting what's happening, letting your hands just do, trying not to have a preconceived idea of how something will end, because it's kind of a nice, delightful surprise. And letting some of the techniques do the work for you without having to control exactly how they are. So that's kind of like the long answer to a very deep philosophical question about our art. You know, as we're doing our art, like how do we, I don't know, it's just interesting. Yeah, lots on the left side. That's okay. No, you got it. It looks great, Christina. It looks great. It looks great. You did good on the left side. The problem is I followed the photo too closely. So this is an error on the left side, right? Like this is a little bit, this needs to be slanted a little bit more. So don't worry. Your fix looks just fine. Isn't it fun?
It's very fun.
Good job, honey. This looks great.
Thank you.
Great. All right. So if you want to go ahead and add, I loved having this. Oh yeah. And if you had an electric laser like I do, you can just get rid of these lines now. I'm going to kind of get rid of them a little.
It's already in my Amazon basket. But
Yeah.
delivery.
Isn't it amazing? Look at this thing. It's incredible. Oh my God. Yeah, Sandra, for drawing, you'll love it because you can get rid of pencil lines in your watercolor based sketches much easier. All right. So you can, if you want to, I kind of like having these branches coming down, right? But you don't have to have them if you don't want to. I sort of want to. I like having them. But that's because this is very much, right? This is very much my vision of, I have a very special memory and association with this place that involves these branches.
That is kind of why I want to learn how to paint too. I take pictures.
Yeah, and then you want to deal, right? You want to imbue them, right?
Yeah, not all pictures are, awesome. So I feel like if I can make them better by painting them differently than the way they appeared because of the exposure was off or whatever.
So you and Albrecht Bierstad would be in agreement. Do you know who he is?
No.
Bierstad is one of the most famous landscape painters. It's interesting. He was German, but he did most of his epic landscape painting in the late 1800s, early 1900s in America. So he painted the West. He painted, he was, and he existed in that time when the camera had been invented. So painters were kind of trying to figure out, well, if I'm not painting a picture, what am I painting? And he would paint his landscapes with things way out of scale, depending on how they made him feel. So if you look at a Bierstadt painting, he has like these huge mountains like jutting up. They absolutely, this is not what they look like if you were standing in the place that he was standing. He makes things bigger and more epic because he wanted to convey the feeling of being in a place. Like, and it's a very interesting idea. His skills were immense, so he wasn't making it up.
Very nice. I look him up.
No,
That's my other.
so it's not so much, Josh. You're not. It's not because you're using. It's okay. Yeah, I mean, yours may be a little bit longer. Is that what you're struggling with? Is the kind of length?
Yeah, like my windows feel like they're wider and like cut off.
Yeah, that will happen because you're going a little taller. So you either make the this shorter, you make this below the halfway point, or you
But
just
actually like the side windows, they feel like they're cut off.
well, this one is cut off.
Okay.
Cut
So
off.
it's good. Okay.
Cut off. You're good. This was a very intentional decision to cut off this window and this window. And also notice this isn't exactly centered. It's sort of centered, but it's not exactly centered. That was a very deliberate decision that I made to keep this from looking too matchy-matchy is the best way I can describe that. Okay, so once you guys are ready, once you feel like you're kind of ready to start painting, hold on. And you've got some oils. Start with the basic underpainting. And I decided to change things up a little bit today. I am not going to use burnt sienna for my base. You are welcome to, but I am not. So I'm going to use cadmium red light. for my base. Basically, the brightest orangest red that you can find. So I suppose in a way it's close to, so if you're using acrylic, you're going to use whatever color you want to. Actually, I'll totally give you this, but I tell you, I love the reds as a base. They really make your painting sing. But if you want to, you're just going to pick a color, or you're going to follow along with me. If you're using acrylic, you're just going to use water and a biggish brush. If you're using oil, you're going to pour a little bit of this Gamsol or turpentine into a jar like this. Can you see that? Gamsol, a bit.
I'm doing this for the first time, so I'm gonna try and follow along.
Okay, yep, absolutely. So here's my Gamsol. So you've done watercolor, right, Christina?
Uh-huh.
So you're just going to use your Gamsol like you would your water in watercolor.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do a very watery first layer. I'm going to grab this brush. I have a bunch of brushes. So I'm going to get my brush wet. And I'm going to just get a little bit of paint. Can you see how I'm grabbing? I know it looks like a lot.
Okay.
So you see, I'm not what's called loading my brush. I don't have a lot of, I want my paint to be wet. I'm not really loading my brush. Pat and Joe, I think you know how to handle this part. So you guys let me know. I'll be happy to slow down. But I think Christina's really the newbie with the oil here. So I've got paint on my brush, but it's very runny and watery.
Yeah.
And then I'm coming over here into the darkest areas of the painting.
Sorry. Did you say that's cadmium red? Because I'm breaking out the paints for the first time. I'm very excited.
Red, it's cadmium red. No, I love that you're this excited. It's really awesome.
Okay.
It's really, I get excited too. It's great.
Does it need to be
Like a
cleaned
ceramic
Gamsol?
plate instead of a whatchamacallit?
A palette.
Palette. Is that okay?
What are you using? A plate?
Like a
That's fine.
ceramic plate.
That's fine. Just don't eat off of it afterwards.
No.
Designate. And the other thing to know about this stuff, Christina, is Gamsol and Galkit, the things that you use to paint in oil, you cannot put them down the sink.
Oh.
So afterwards, you cannot like paint water, put this down the sink. So afterwards, you need to find an empty jar and store and just pour whatever is left into an empty jar.
Okay.
When your jar is full, you take it to the hazardous waste place in your area. There are dumps that will take it, but you do not, the big thing is not to dump it. And then you can wash your brush just using brush cleaner or dishwashing liquid. You can wash your brush as usual, but just you don't want to dump this down the sink.
Okay.
We don't want it. We do not want it going into our drinking water.
Got it.
Right.
And I should have mentioned I'm doing this in my bedroom. This is okay, right?
Yeah, you might want to open the window later. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, if you're using Gamsol, you're using the least toxic, you're using a very non-toxic substance. Some people react to it really strongly more than others, so it just depends. But yeah, it should be fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, notice, some people are sensitive actually, so you pay attention to how you're doing this. And notice that basically I'm just with this very light filmy layer, I'm doing kind of a basic values painting in one color. That means my darkest areas are going to be the darkest red. And my middle layers, so here I'm going in and laying in. You're going to see mine's dripping a little bit because it's tilting. I like having drips in there, but if you don't like having drips, that's okay. One of the other nice things about oil is that you can go darker on your bases. And what this turpentine will do, this turpentine layer will do, is it will actually dry within a few minutes. Mostly oil takes days to dry, but if you can go darker on your first layers and then lay light colors on top, and it looks really amazing.
I think
Oh,
my
you can
cadmium,
go
cadmium
acrylic.
red. I was just gonna say, is my cadmium red different than yours? It seems darker. It's the deep hue.
Yeah, it is different than mine.
I
I'm
got
using cadmium red light.
Okay, got it.
Good observing. So this means also, yeah, as Diana was mentioning, a lot of this is also true about acrylic. So this is true about acrylic too. So notice I'm trying to go a little bit darker. I'm getting paint everywhere, but I'm trying to just go a little bit darker in the areas that are darker and slightly lighter in the areas that are lighter.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter. Honestly, if you wanted to, you could just totally tone this whole thing one color. But I want you to start paying attention to values. So I think this is true.
I'm having a fun time already.
Right. And this is why I teach acrylic and oil together, because actually they're similar layering process. It's just different materials, and oil dries fast. Sorry, oil dries slow and acrylic dries fast. So that's like the difference. So there are differences. So you'll notice I'm actually going to come back in here and add a kind of more. I want it to get a little bit darker in here. So I'm adding a little bit more paint. It's darker up here.
You're right. This is easier than watercolor.
It's way easier than watercolor, so much easier. And because what really is amazing is how incredible the lights look on top of the darks. So you can layer your lights on top of your darks. You don't have to protect your darks. And that's the really magical thing about it. And in fact, I'm even going to get a little bit of light up in the, I want paint everywhere, but I want it to be a very thin layer. So can you see how thin this layer is? It's almost transparent.
Oh gosh.
I have a lot of brilliance. So you guys, you'll be doing something like this too. And you can see my painting is dripping, which is fine, because I know I can cover it up on the next layer. So that's the beginning of oil painting. Now, so if you're using acrylics, right, the acrylics are going to dry in a couple minutes, and then you're just going to be able to go right over. If you're using oil, like I am, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful with your mixing. You guys give me 1 minute. Be right back. That's funny, Pat. I was thinking about sending Charlotte a note and this morning to say, make sure you look at your mom's stuff that she did. Pretty great. I know you're gonna think the same.
I think that it's really a matter of understanding on that part. It's like, these are just a bunch of lines.
Or just a bunch of lines. Yeah, exactly.
I should get a towel, huh?
Yeah, it would probably be a good idea to have a towel. Somebody said to me yesterday, we were using charcoal and they were like, how do you get this off your fingers? And I'm like, you don't. I mean, you get it at the end of class, you wash your hands. This is messy.
Is it just me that doesn't really like messy art forms?
No, lots of people don't.
No, I don't either. I
Lots of-
mean, pastels is messy, but
yeah. I think anybody who likes pastels or charcoal sort of accepts mess on some level because it just gets everywhere. There's no way. There's no way around it.
I think I would do
See, you
charcoal more.
a lot
It
of
wasn't-
measuring with your ruler. Are you really needing to do that? As much as you're measuring, are you really needing to?
I am not getting, I'm not able to transfer this,
So
but
what size are you, why don't you send me where you are? And are you working big? Is that what you're doing?
well, it's bigger than the page and that's why I'm not figuring out how to transfer it. I barely got started. I've just been sitting here
What is
staring
the
at this stupid,
size- What's the size of your, so yeah, I'm
it's
noting
a 9 by 12.
what you're doing and that's not what you want to be doing. Take a picture of what you're doing. Tell me the size and then I'll help you locate where things, I want to see where you think the points need to be.
It's a 9 by 12.
Oh, yeah, listen, it's a little bit higher or lower. So your building is going to be a little bit higher.
So
or
you-
lower.
And you just eyeball it then?
You
That
can
doesn't work,
decide
right?
to make your, Tosh, we had the same thing. Your building will be a little bit higher.
I think a ruler helps, no? Even if you don't.
No,
Just-
not in this particular situation. Hang on, because there, I know what's happening and I'm trying to find the words to describe it so I can help. Bring Joe, so this is an 8 by 10, which means this is kind of shorter and squatter. You're just gonna either make your building a little bit taller and have more sky, or make your building a little bit shorter and have a lot more sky. So it's not gonna compositionally look like this. So let go of compositionally this being the same thing. I don't want you to measure exactly like doing what I'm doing. I want you to kind of locate in general. Let's see.
I think it's coming out okay, but it's,
No, okay, so this is what you did. Your point should still, oh, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You put your vanishing point up here.
right. Because it seems like it's way above the page.
So in my case, the vanishing point was here. I'm just looking. I guess what I'm saying is you can this can be, it's easier. Okay, this is fine. This is just fine. Yeah, this is absolutely fine. The proportions are not going to be the same, but that's
So
okay.
the angles here is how I was finding that vanishing line. By getting the angles like that.
Listen, you shouldn't be doing angles. Oh, I see your point. You're trying to find where it ends.
Right.
Okay, then you're in good shape. Just keep going. You're in good
I
shape.
think it's working finally.
It's working. It's working. I just wanted to make sure intellectually, you did not have to stick with this proportions. You can make this building a little bit taller and narrower. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Tashween is having the same struggle. This was
Okay.
not really about recreating this as much as it was about how do I do this in general.
Okay, so you just pick your own vanishing point and then make it
Yes.
work towards that.
Pick your
Okay.
own vanishing point and work from that. So if you wanted to, that would mean it's true that these things would look steeper. I see what you're doing. Actually, advanced work, Joe. You got it. You got it. When I saw you
Frustrating.
this, I just wanted to make sure you weren't measuring every single.
Well, now I'm trying to figure out where the top of that bottom window is on the building. That's what I was measuring now.
It's right here.
Yeah, and the bottom window is let's see, I think it's,
Bottom window, the top of the bottom window. If you look.
well,
here-
the whole bottom window is coming in on the bottom 2/3 of the building.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. Good, 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 good. Yes. Yes.
So, all right.
Yes, exactly. Yes, 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 yes. That's perfect. You
It's
got
hard
it.
to eyeball that.
Great. I mean, you can, because you're not drawing a real building, you can make your own decision is what
Yeah.
yeah. So you
Okay.
decide to your building will be a little bit steeper, higher, maybe. The windows won't be exactly in the right places, but you can make those decisions because I'm more interested in the idea of how the windows progress than is this exactly the same. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I guess that was the problem I was having, is figuring out where that vanishing point was. But if you can just pick one, that's a good one.
Yeah, just pick one. But you did the right thing in measuring the vanishing point. Like if you were trying to do exactly what was here, you did exactly the right thing. You
Okay.
did the right. So your instincts were right on.
Okay.
I feel like a very proud mama duck right now. I feel very proud. Really, that's really great, Joe.
Well, I barely got started. I was just sitting here staring at it for an hour.
Yep. And you're all going to need to understand this in your own way, right? So I can only tell you so much. Like there's only so many. This is what's really interesting. I'm introducing it. I'm trying to explain it to you as best as I can. But perspective is one of those things that you have to have experience with. Yeah, that looks great, Christina. That looks great. Lovely. Pat, very nice. Get a few more darks in, Pat. Get a few more darks in the places where there's like these darks, and then you'll be ready. Great. Looks wonderful.
Okay.
Aren't you kind of thrilled with your painting?
Leah,
Yeah.
can you handle the arches in terms of like the perspective, or are we just gonna ignore that?
You're eyeballing them.
Okay.
There isn't really, I mean, they fit within here. That's the
That,
only,
I get that, but like the line, or maybe I find it better than
I think you're thinking too, I think you just have to try and see it. There is no perspective rule. I mean, there isn't really a perspective rule to handle these. You just got to eyeball them and see them. I mean, there might be a perspective rule, but I don't know what it is. And it's a small, tiny part of, so just try your best to see how they
Oh,
look.
you mean just look at the shapes? Okay.
Yeah, look at the shapes.
Sounds good.
There we go. That's the overarching rule. Right? Lint? I don't know where that's coming from. Oh, that might be your eraser. You might have
Oh,
you need to
yeah.
stuff off. You want to like take your paper towel and brush that off.
Okay.
Yeah. You're gonna like this second bit because I'm gonna let you guys choose your colors for the next layers. So your colors on the next layer, you can see this is almost dry. These parts are a little bit wet, but this sort of pure liquidy, it's almost dry. So I can layer on top of it pretty easily. You can pick your own colors to put on here. And the only important thing, as Lana said before class, she was like, are we just doing 50 shades of black? I'm going to show you the colors that this particular version of this painting was, but at the end of class. So what I want you to notice is that, let's see, like these window panes are ones, right, on the value scale. And the sky is a 2. And these darkest areas are 5s in value. So your colors need to reflect, and this is like probably 3.5, and this is a 4. And this might be a 2, and this might be a 3. This one actually has the reflection of the tree in it. So if you want to, and you want to deal with that, I'll take a close up so you can see it, but you don't have to put it in. So you are going to be picking 3 colors, maybe 4, or colors that you mix together. 3 colors that when you put them next to each other, they read as dark, medium, and light. You know, one reads as a 1, one reads as a 2, one reads as a 5, let's say. I'm going to take a close up of this one so you can see it. That window, if you want to do something with this. But you'll see here with this little map that I'm taking a picture of is that, you know, these all have a value. So value is relative. For example, the color yellow can be a 3, it can be a 1, it can be a 5. It depends on what you put next to it. So on your palette over here, I want you to place, darn it, on your palette here, I want you to place 3 colors next to each other that you think sort of indicate light, medium, and dark.
And are we basically talking about the sky, the trim around the windows?
Let's deal with the buildings. Let's deal with the building, and then you get to make a separate decision about what color.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But it needs to match the value. So that's the only thing that's important. I'm starting with 3 colors for the building, right? And then the sky, you can make your own decision, but it needs to be a 2 in relation to anything that you have here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So yeah, and it gives you a little bit of freedom. I don't even know what I'm gonna do yet. Here, hold on.
And can they be completely different colors? Like
They can.
a yellow and a blue and a purple? Or
Yes, they can. They can be whatever you want them to be. They can be all different types of yellow. They can be whatever, just whatever colors please you, as long as they match the values.
Okay. And then, sorry, one other question.
Yeah.
Since the underpainting is red, do we want to pick colors that react with the red somehow?
Just pick the colors that you like.
Okay.
Pick the colors that you like.
Better if you have complementary colors.
Yeah, it helps, right? So like greens would be nice on top of reds. Some kind of bluey greens would be really lovely on top of the reds. But I want you to play with colors, right? So what Diana's talking about is the complement. So often, if you've got like okay, let me go back to the beginning of complementary colors. Hang on. Yes, on the picture over here. Give me a second. You know what? I'm not going to go into the full complementary color discussion because we have it a lot.
Okay.
Go ahead. What was that, Diana?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. But what I will say is this. There are 3 complementary color pairings. And they are called here. I have the wrong colors to do a color wheel, so I'm not going to do a color wheel at this exact moment. But there are 3 complementary color pairings, and you should memorize them, Christina. They are green and red. They are blue and orange. And they are purple and yellow. You will see a lot of sports teams with these colors. You're going to see a lot of schools with these colors, because when you put green and red next to each other, they pop each other forward. However, when you mix them, they create a shadow, a kind of grayed version of the color, a kind of muddy color.
Mhm.
So if you want to use that principle for this painting, if you want a painting that really jumps forward, you might want to try greens on top of this red, is what Diana was saying, right? Like, so because, and they won't be mixing, right? They'll sit, one will sit on top of the other because this is drying. So they won't be mixing. So, so a green would look like greens, turquoises would look really amazing, but you don't have to do that. You could do yellow. You could decide to do more red. You could do whatever you want to do. What I really am testing is you being able to evaluate color and value, and to also understand that color and value is relative. So a color can be dark, medium, or light, depending on what's next to it. So, and you can mix something in with your colors if you don't quite have the colors that you want.
Oh, yeah. So I'm opening the paints for the first time, so I might take some time deciding.
Hey, all right. We were also discussing yesterday that, like, the difference between pastels and paint is that with paint, you mix all your colors. So you really only need like 10 colors of paint, maybe 12. With pastels, they're like little mixed sticks.
Got it.
So with pastels, I'm putting a couple of colors down because I'm exploring some different ideas. Even know. So you can mix your colors a lot to get the things that you want. Also, Diana, how is your painting going?
Oh, no. I did. Part of the water became much better with the blue.
You took, you wiped it off the yellow part, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let me show you where I'm at.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm doing a little bit of highlighting right now.
Nice.
There you go.
Sandra, how is your Foxy going?
I'm starting with the eyes, so I don't mess them up.
Yeah, I do think it helped with the water. So now are you just working on the reflection?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just soften the reflection a little bit.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. I love this. When Sandra says she's working on the eyes, you know that that's the best part of the painting.
The eyes are never big enough compared to the rest of the painting, as far as I'm concerned.
Foxes have smaller eyes.
They looked big, but in fact, they're small.
Right. So Christina, I would like to see on your palette the 3 colors that you think represent light, medium, and dark,
Sure.
or you lay them down.
Okay.
There's a couple of other tips as we start to do this. So you can use the same brush if you want.
Mhm.
You're either going to want to use Galkid or some of this. This is a solvent-free gel. It's like a gel I can use to make my paintings a little wet. You're either going to use straight paint or you're going to use a little bit of this to get your brush wet. So you're no longer going to be using, so you do not want to use turpentine on the top layers. You don't want to use Gamsol on the top layers. If you do, you'll strip the paint. Let me
I
show you.
want the paint.
You'll strip it off.
Oh, got it.
So you do not mix. So look here, I'm dipping my brush in turpentine and I look at what's happening. I'm actually stripping the paint off. So on the top layers, I don't use Galkid. See that? See how it all just came off?
Yeah.
The
So
top,
I don't have that Galkid
you're
thing.
just going to use straight paint. You're not going to, and the only time, if you decide you're just going to use one brush, which is what I do a lot, the only time you will use the brush is to clean it off. The Gamsol is to clean off your brush in between layers. So if you're
Okay.
using different colors, you can choose to use different brushes for different colors, or you can use the same brush. So you can see here, I'm dipping this in, and then I'm going to squeeze it with a paper towel so that when I go to pick up paint, right,
Mhm.
I have sort of more paint on my brush. So say I want to start with like a yellow. I don't even know if this is light enough. I'm mixing yellow and white to kind of get this layer in, right? And then I want to use some blue. I'm going to take this brush and dip it in the Gamsol to get the extra color off twice. And then I'm going to squeeze it off, wipe it off with this paper towel so that now my brush is clean and I can go in and say mix. Say I want to make my floor like a turquoise color, right? Like that. So I don't have any yellow in the middle. Does that make sense? Okay. So you'll use, at this point, you use your solvent only for cleaning your brush, and you want to get off as much as possible before you start to paint
Okay.
your top layers, right? You'll want to get it off. So now I want to switch this. Let's say I want, I don't know, kind of a medium layer. So I'm mixing a kind of pinky medium. I'm just kind of making this up right now. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. Oh, interesting. Use more pink to make that dark enough. Right. So to do that, I had to clean my brush off. Or you can, you know, decide to use different brushes for different things. But I have kind of, now I've got like this pink on my brush. So now I'm like, I'm going to clean it off, squeeze it out. Then I can go back to mixing dark. My dark blue. Because now the thing you need to know is that this paint won't dry for a couple days. So as you're laying it in, I'm kind of loading my brush with more paint. Just a little bit darker.
I won't be mixing colors now. I'll just use the,
Well, you're probably going to need to mix the colors a bit. You at least want some white there to lighten and darken as you need to.
and you said you wanted to see my color choices, right?
Yep, yep. Show them to me next to each other.
Okay, hang on. Um,
It will look very dull if you use the colors straight as they are from the tubes.
Yeah, you'll want to mix stuff.
We can mix stuff,
Yes.
because everything I have is dark. It's like, what? What do you want me to do here?
Yeah, Tosh, that looks pretty good. So Joe, you can see, so Tosh, if you want to, you can have a little bit more on the bottom here, right? And you can make your windows a little bit shorter if you want to. You can. That top, that bottom, you can give yourself a little bit more bottom here. You can get
Same thing as Tosh.
Yeah, you and Tosh are having the same problem because you're using the same size. So if you want to make, just bring this up a little higher.
Okay.
Yeah, but you did good. It looks good. Yes. So now you get to work on the painting using oil or acrylic. Either way, you'll do a base in one color, and then you're going to pick light, medium, and dark to work with your top colors. You guys are doing great. All right, Joe. Yeah.
The whole arches thing is I don't know.
Great, dude. You're done.
Christina's looks really good.
So the only thing I would say is you should make this a little bit wider, because this looks big. This window shouldn't be bigger than this window. Standing in front of, so I would make this a little wider.
Okay.
Right? Still going to the same vanishing point, just start a little bit wider down here.
Okay.
So spread them out a little bit. Or maybe the problem is this one, which is a little too wide. Never mind. It's this one. So
See, now the one on the other side would be just as wide if it didn't go off the page.
I would cut this down just a little bit. I would bring this line in just a little bit on this side, and I would bring this line in toward this way just a little bit. And then I think you got it, Joe.
But it needs to be the same width as the middle one?
No, it doesn't need to be the same width, because remember, we're looking at them from different perspectives, but this is significantly wider than this one. So it's like they don't look like they are uniform windows that were put together in the same place. So what I'm telling you is bring this line down a little bit lower. You probably have it here. You probably have it here. Bring it down here. Bring this line down here. Just cut that in a little bit, and then you'll be fine. Try that.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's good. You guys both did good. So, and I appreciate how you dealt with this is really where I want you to get to, is to start to be able to problem solve with your own sizes, right? Like that's right, and I'm gonna take a picture of that. I'm proud of you too, Tosh. I'm proud of you guys both in handling this very well. Here is my painting.
Okay. Can I keep the gouache until I have time to do that? Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Add some white here.
Okay, killing it, you guys. This is good. You guys are doing, yeah. So you might add, so notice if you want to lighten, another mixing observation, Christina. Of you. If you mix white into a color, it's going to cool that color off a little bit. It might make it a little flat. So if you want to cool a color, if you want to lighten a color and keep it warmer, you should mix in a yellow.
A yellow.
Yeah. So if you want to keep and then you'll of course also get something different. So if I mix yellow with this blue, I get a green. If I mix yellow with this pink, I get a kind of orangey color. But I will lighten it, right? So if you want, it just kind of depends. Like experiment with not just lightening with white, experiment and lightening with yellow. Tosh, I think your dark is okay. Yeah, the red is fine, but I think your dark is okay. but I think your blue and your yellow are a little too close in value. You'll see if you if you turn this picture into here, I'll do it myself. I'm gonna get it out here and then I'll show you. So you're gonna want to add white or yellow to one of your colors to lighten them. But hold on, I'll show this to you so you can see how it looks. I have to pull it out here so I can edit it. Yeah, you're gonna have to do some mixing on this regardless. It's gonna need to happen. So just get started in the playing with color and mixing. We'll do things where I'll be more controlling about the mixing, but I'm trying to be less controlling. Did you notice? You guys all notice? I'm trying to be less controlling and let you work with your own color choices a bit more.
What do you think of these colors, Leah?
Hold on just a second. I'll show you. So Tosh, I'm just showing you guys, I'm just turning this into a black and white to show you. I think you're gonna have to push the yellow just a touch lighter. So this is Tasha's palette that she just sent, but in color. Oops, hang on. 1 second and I'll take it. Pat, these are too much the same. Oh, Viridian, yeah. Look at your CAD red and your Viridian and your CAD red look exactly the same to me. In the dark, if you see them in the values.
Yeah, boy, I am running out of colors.
You need to start mixing my Steve.
Mix, okay.
You need to start mixing colors. Mix an orange. All right, hang on, Christina, I'll take a look now.
Hang on, I darkened it. I'll send it again.
Okay, good. So yes, we learned.
I went more analogous though.
That's fine. You can do whatever you want. You can go, for some people, it's easier to go analogous because they can see. Oh yeah, Christina, I can't. Okay, I'm gonna show you what this looks like. Turn this into a black and white and send it
Black
back.
and white? Okay.
Yeah, turn this picture into a black and white and send it through the thread and you will see the problem.
Hang on.
You will absolutely see the problem.
Are they too similar then? Same value? I'm guessing. Hang on. Oh, great. Okay, then.
My point.
Yeah,
You see my point? There's no difference between your dark, your medium, and your light.
that's true. They are the
I want you
same.
to look here and see. This is a dark. This is a dark medium. This is dark. This is light. And this is a light medium. There's a significant difference between.
Just turn that brown.
Find that.
Okay, got it.
Oh, what did you do?
So associating value with color. Yeah, Christina, look at this. This is
I
exactly
know.
the same. There's no difference in your values at all. So you have a pretty distinct light, medium, and dark.
Okay.
All right.
Changing.
And it's very important to associate color and value, and to understand that value is relative. Value is relative depending on what's next to something. You're doing great. Pat, where are you at in this? I'm sorry, have I looked at your latest one?
Yeah, the medium and the dark was too much alike, so I'm
Yep.
looking at an orange instead of the cad red.
Oh, cool.
I screwed this one up.
What happened?
I was muting the colors on the center both that I sort of wanted everything to look at.
Send it over. Send it over. Let's see if we can problem solve it.
We can.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's,
we can.
but it's
That was, you know, Diana, that was a tricky, that reflection was tricky because it's so muted, but also has such vibrant color in it. It was tricky. So I get exactly where you're struggling. So let's see.
You know, you did this last week too, Leah, and it's been so helpful to me. I've been thinking about it all week long.
Yeah, like you guys getting to sort of judge and evaluate your colors.
Yeah.
Less fun, like me trying to tell you a mix, which is tedious and not that fun for you. Yeah, that's the idea. Is I want you kind of more getting your own idea of colors, and you'll see. You pick colors. It's interesting how and why we pick colors.
I'm wondering if part of the problem isn't the gray sky for me. But we'll see.
Okay, let's see, Diana. Yeah, Diana, this just needs to be muted. Honestly, right now the shadow is too bright.
Yeah.
Have you thought about like maybe taking a little bit of phthalo blue and white and kind of drifting it through, not as a glaze, but as a kind of like,
I was thinking purple, but it might not be.
I would say try phthalo blue.
Yeah, okay.
All right, you're good now. Yep, absolutely. You start painting. I don't even know what those colors are, and I don't even want to know. Go
Are you
ahead.
talking to me or?
No, Pat, that's great.
Yeah.
The values look great, so we don't even need to know what the actual colors are. Surprise us.
Okay. Okay.
So I think what I have noticed is some people who are good at art, you know, who love art, are good at like black and white valuations, and they're good with pencil lines, and they're good with like that kind of illustrative content. Other people are real natural with color, and that means that you can do what we're doing right here pretty easily. You can associate color and value pretty easily. You can tell when a color looks dark and when it looks light. And if you can do that, when you can do that, it makes it really easy to interchange colors. You know who is a natural at this is Diana. And if you ever see Diana's paintings, and if you look at her underpaintings, you will see that she's constantly switching up the colors, but she's very, very attuned to value. So if she decides to make one part of a shadow pink and another part of a shadow blue, those even though those colors will switch up, they will still reflect the values correctly, the darkness and the lightness. And so that's what makes her looking at her painting so interesting. She has she doesn't even know she's doing it, probably. I mean, she knows she's doing it, right? You know you're doing it, Diana, but she does it naturally. So it's not hard for her to do it. For other people, you kind of have to work with color a little bit You might be better with line, you might be better with like sort of shades of gray, but color might be trickier to evaluate next to each other. So these lessons are designed to kind of make it easier for you guys to evaluate color. You know what's great about art is there are so many things one has to be good at. No one's good at everything. So you
That is very true.
once you figure out what the things are that you're not good at, then you can figure out how to resolve them, right? Like to work at them. Diana and I are similar. We're pretty good with color. So it's not something that we have to think. We're also pretty good with using the brush. So we don't have to think too much about it. But for other people, it's harder. And that doesn't mean you're a bad artist. It just means that there's an aspect of the art that that color is not the best thing. There's so much. Think about this. We spent like almost 2 hours on the drawing, right? So drawing also has to be something you're good at. And evaluating lines and colors and shape and blah, 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 and using the different tools and seeing how they work. Like all of these things have to kind of work in tandem. So for those of you working on this exercise, if you're working in oil, once you get through kind of a certain layer of color, you may have to let it sit until next week. And in that case, I know some of you have other paintings you're working on, so you can just bring up another painting and we'll work on it. Like if you did this painting, there's stuff that can be done to it. If you worked on this painting last week, you can work on that too, right? So the idea is that we're going to start having these piles of paintings, particularly if you're working in oil and like you can only go so far in oil. If you're working in acrylic, you can just keep going until you're done. Yeah.
You can.
I think I got it.
All right, let's see it.
Holy criminy. It took longer than I had planned. Hang on, sending.
Let's see.
Sorry, taking this down.
Okay. All right, Joe, there you go. You got it. You got it. It's done. Start painting. You got it. Yeah, let's see. Hold on. Sorry, Christina. I'm looking here.
Take your time. I'm still finding the black and white version.
I think your dark, I think your light is going to need to be lighter, a little bit
Still lighter. Okay.
Yeah, but take a look at the black and you do the black and white version and send it across and then we'll know.
Yep. Oh, shoot. Hang on. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. This is a 3-hour class and nobody's in any rush to finish anything. I just want you guys to learn. I want you to fiddle around and learn. That's all I really want is for you to play. Now take a look at that.
Okay, make it even paler.
These two have no difference between them, virtually none at all.
Good.
This one and this one are exactly the same, and this one needs to be paler. This one could be your medium.
Okay.
But then you'd have to make a completely different light.
I don't like yellow.
Keep working.
Okay.
I know, keep mixing. Do you see it? Can you see it? There's absolutely no difference between these when you turn them to black and white. I know you think there's a difference, but there's no difference in value. So this is what you're going to need to teach. This is what you're going to start practicing, Christina, is this. As you start working with color, it's for those colors appearing as lights and darks.
Okay, got it. So the first one is my medium now. Okay.
The first one is your medium. The last one is the one on the left is your medium. The one on your right is your dark. And now you need to find a light. Sandra, can we see what you're working on? Can we see?
I'll just show you like this.
Okay, can I hold
Doesn't
it?
look like a fox yet.
Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna add the spotlight so I can see. Oh,
But I
yeah.
have to go quick because I just put a dab of color and it's not very.
Yep. Very good. Eyes look like they're well placed, by the way.
Well, I had to correct them actually. I checked with my film. I had the ears absolutely perfect, but the eyes and the mouth were in the wrong place.
Got it. Sandra, you've come, your skills have like exploded.
Yeah.
Your evaluative skills are your drawing skills are becoming so much stronger every day. I'm really impressed. I have to tell
Thank you.
I know it's a struggle, and I know we're like, but the work that you're putting in is really paying off. You are
It's perfect.
Yay.
No, I
right.
don't know if it's perfect,
I
but it's
know. We're watching you. It's funny. I was telling a student the other day, I saw this last painting you did and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, you saw my last painting. I'm like, I look at every single one of you. I stalk every single one of you. I watch everything that you guys do. Because it's really exciting to see to see the progression. And you can, when you look at something, you can see a lot, like you can see progress, you can see like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm watching you.
because it doesn't always feel like a straight trajectory. Sometimes I feel like
Because you go backwards.
you're going backwards, or suddenly something which you thought you'd kind of managed is becoming harder.
Exactly. So you know what that is, Sandra, is that as you know more, you have to incorporate that new thing that you know into everything else that you know.
It's exactly that. It's
Or you
every
know,
time.
so you become like making more mistakes as you start to incorporate that new level of knowledge. It's so like the way I teach figure drawing, this is very apparent, right? We start in figure drawing with just learning gesture and learning how to measure. And then quickly we go from starting gesture and learning to measure, then you learn how to shade. And then after that, you learn about anatomy. And after that, you learn about foreshortening. And all of those things are additional tools that you need to incorporate back in with, but you can't forget the measuring and the gesture. You can't forget those things. So every time you're having to add more. But as you do it, I guess what I would say, Sandra, is I really see you starting to incorporate everything that you know into a new whole. It's very exciting. It's lovely.
Thank you. I'm watching like new videos all the time, and yes, sometimes and different people have different style. They teach you different things, but then it kind of throws you off kilter a bit because you get confused. Or I don't know.
Yeah, you're trying to get used to a certain thing in a certain way, right? But sometimes somebody will say, I mean, because there's so many ways to talk about this. I'm just talking to you about it the way I learned it, right? So that is like you are stuck with me in my way of thinking about things, but that's not the only way. We're all getting to the same place, but there's all these different ways of explaining it. And everybody has a slightly different way of coming at it, the problem. And as you were noticing with Emma, when Emma explained about how to get the eyes right on the owl that you guys painted the other day, you were like,
Right.
oh yeah, that was like a super helpful thing. And it's probably not what I would have done. Marie is making a lot of decisions that I wouldn't necessarily make in teaching pastels, but it's not wrong. So you kind of have to see the through line, right? Like what everything is. So sometimes looking at those videos helps because the way I've been saying it might not be a way that you get it, but the way somebody else says it might be more the way you get it.
Yeah, and different people discovering different things at different moments and
Yeah.
experimenting. It's fascinating. They're have very different styles. I must say, I didn't realize I keep trying to figure out watercolor should be done like this, like that. And in fact, it can be done all sorts of different ways.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, and that's magical. And then at some point, Sandra, you'll become more aware of how you use it.
Exactly. I'm still trying to find out how I use it.
More aware of like how you use it, and you'll just be more aware of that as you're going forward. And then wait till somebody asks you to describe how you do what you do, and you'll be like, I don't even, oh my God. There is so much to that question. This is why I often tell artists who hit a certain level that you should start teaching at some point, just because. So that happened with Marie. You know, Marie was my student. Technically, she still is my student, but she doesn't really need to study with me anymore. She studied with me for a few years. She's fine now, right? Like she's going on her way. Marie is improving her education by teaching you guys, because now she's forced to go back and look at what she knows and to understand why she knows that. That is like how I continue to grow, is to continue to teach and to continue to have to be forced to explain everything that I'm doing. I'm a much better drawing teacher than I am a painting teacher, because so painting is so intuitive to me. It's been really hard for me to like break down the things that I do. It's like a lot harder. So it's been interesting to see, okay, I'm like forced in this position to have to start explaining what it is I'm doing. So at some point, like that, like it's like taking something apart and putting it back together. That's what we're constantly doing, Sandra. We're like constantly like engineers, taking something apart and putting it back together. I'm going to take this engine apart and I'm going to put it back together.
And sometimes you can't remember how to put it back together.
Sometimes you can't remember. Sometimes you can't remember how to put it back together. Amen, sister. Amen.
I sent you a little muted thing.
You sent us a little muted thing? Okay, let's do the muted thing. That's better. So the only thing I think is that that little orange part is still too bright.
You think I just wanted one little focus point.
But it's too big. It's
Okay.
So cut it in half. How's that? Can you negotiate?
Okay.
If you can cut it in half, I
I
think
can.
get you where you want to go.
And I will.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this idea a lot, the concept of how people learn and what is like voice, right? Because voice, I feel like, is present in everything we do. And it's more like, how do I find my voice? So Pat came out yesterday and painted with us outside. And she did something that I think is more Pat's voice, beautiful and exquisite, and more Pat's voice than anything else I've seen her do in class. And it was very different than anything else I had seen you do, Pat. Like, it was very different, very elegant, kind of like, it's hard to explain. Like, she did a little tiny, very abstracted landscape that was just quite beautiful and very Pat. And like, it came from, I think, all the studies that you've done in drawing, right?
Yeah.
All the drawing
The
work.
second one definitely did.
Yeah, and yet it still had something that was very Pat. Like, I could have never predicted it. I would have never been able to tell you to go for that. It just kind of happened. And it was pretty neat. It's kind of neat. So like, it's always this juggling act.
Hey, Leah, I made another attempt. We'll see this time.
Let's see. All right. So remember, okay, so your middle still needs to be a little bit lighter, honey. A little bit lighter.
Oh, golly. Okay.
Yep. Remember, there has to be a distinct difference between your light, your medium, and your dark. You'll see why.
I think I'm just adding some very light blue to it now.
Mhm. This is good too, because now you're organically learning this.
No, it's
So
good.
how is it going for you over there? You've been
Me?
just quietly powering through. Yep.
I'm just getting paint out.
Okay, great.
I ended up with some junk paint that was dried up, so.
That happens. Yeah, I think it helped actually, Leah. Thank you.
Yeah. I know what you mean because I had the same dilemma when I worked on that piece. I was like, I want that little pop to come out, but like it really is less than you think it is, isn't it? It's so funny. See, those of us who love color really can't stand it. When there's like less color rather than more. But sometimes the composition calls for it.
I'll send it as it is, see what you say now.
Let's see. You know, it's particularly Diana because that's a yellowish orange. So remember, yellow is the color our eye goes to first
Yeah,
on the canvas, and it will go right to. So you have to make sure it's doing what you want it to do.
but now, you know, the orange, I find the orange sail to the left, the one in the middle, and the reflection, they sort of play.
Yeah. That's it. Yep. You just had to mute it just a little bit. There you go. It's done. Done. Signed. Move on to the next one. Signed.
Do you think I'm done with the portrait of Frank?
Ah, I had an observation about that,
Put it up. Yes.
Okay.
which may or may not be right. But
Yeah.
I thought that the part that looked odd is where the top of her head, where the hair attaches to the skull.
Yeah.
So send it over. Let's see.
Okay. No.
Nice.
Yeah, I could work on the forehead more. I could.
And let's see, send it because there was something else. Ah, yes. And I thought that also that there's a red on the face on the left-hand side of the forehead, which I think may be too red, but it looks like an irritation of the skin.
It's Frank's irritation that she's painted.
I sent it.
The above the left eyebrow, I think it's above the right eyebrow when you're looking at it. I think it's a bit too red there.
So maybe just soften it a little bit or with a little bit more skin color or maybe just a touch of blue. Great observation, Sandra. I'll go with Sandra. I think she's right.
And actually around the cheeks as well. And can you send us a photo, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hateful photo. Let's see where it is.
Leah, I sent it again. Oh, she's not there.
Ah, so maybe
I like it.
it's just where the hair touches. It seems that maybe it's too far back. But I see why you did it like that. But
I can pull down some hair in the forehead.
you like it better too. Maybe add some on the left. On the left side, he seems to have more. Yeah, it just seemed strange way to touch it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll work a little bit more. I mean, I could work on the eyes a little bit more too, but you know,
Let me see.
there could be, but there are
Actually, in the photo, let me see.
What a mess.
But it's not a photo.
Maybe the right eye,
Yeah,
you could have a bit more.
and
Uh,
brighten it up a little bit, yeah.
Well, yes, exactly. By the way, Diana,
Yeah,
a question for you. In Sweden, do you use these big square pillows?
yeah.
Ah, and what are they made of?
Mostly down. Nowadays,
So I was
I'm sure
wondering-
it's synthetic. I'm sure they're synthetic these days.
But in the old times, were they down or were they feathers? I mean, is down too soft for these kind of pillows?
Well, they were feathers, and and the mattresses were made out of horse mane.
Ah, yeah. I've seen places in the UK that still do that, but of course it's very difficult to import a mattress.
Yeah, that's
I mean, assuming they don't kill the horse to do that.
they don't. They cut off the mane and the tail, and it grows out.
Right. Yeah.
But I
And
think
because-
that was
yeah.
an economical reasons too in the old days, because people, if they had a couple of horses, they would just do that to keep on filling their mattresses.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, I grew up with these pillows.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of getting one because a few years ago I was buying pillowcases from Ireland,
Yeah.
and he sent me the wrong size. He sent me one of his Euro sizes. And now that I'm thinking of getting some new pillows, I thought maybe I should get a.
Yeah, I have a lot of those square pillowcases, and of course they don't fit any pillows here.
Well, I'm thinking of getting one and kind of enjoying it. To
Getting
watch
what?
a square Euro pillow.
Oh. Okay.
Which
Actually,
is-
I think, Diana, that this is a better picture, that your painting makes him look better than the photo that he's so angry about.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks great, Tosh. So Tosh, a black and white base is a totally fine base to use. In fact, it's a great base. Any colors you put on top will be awesome.
Actually, it's my colored one turned black and white.
Oh, can you send it to us, your colors? I'd love to see your colors. I can send you the colors of the original painting if you guys would like to see it. Do you guys want to see them? Wait, let's wait till the very end. You know what? Let's wait till the very end and then let's do a reveal. Don't send it. Don't send it. Don't send it yet. Wait till the end of class. We have another 40 minutes. So let's wait to see where people are. Okay, no, never mind. Oh, take it off, Tosh. Take it off. Now I don't want to see it. Now I want to see what it looks like at the end of class.
Okay.
Hey, Leah,
Yeah.
are these colors okay?
Well, what do you think?
Them.
Yeah, I think you've got it. Now you can go for it. I think.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. At long last, yes, you got there. Good job, kid. Perfect. Kid. I'm sorry. I can't believe I called you kid. Sorry. 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 I mean, fellow adults. Oh my God.
Okay. Painting time.
Painting time. So now you're just gonna use paint and you're gonna clean your brush
Mm-hmm.
using using your Gamsol, but you're not gonna put, you're gonna squeeze off the brush with a paper towel before you add, you put more paint on it. So it's, you're just doing straight paint, no liquids.
Oops.
Oh, I messed up. I messed up. I completely messed up.
Oh, no, 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 I'm sure not. I'm sure not.
Hmm. Hmm.
Actually, it makes a giant mess. Okay, so.
Wow, that's my quote.
Are you feeding him?
No, I'm not seeing anybody because,
Right, because of the rats.
well, yeah, and I've never, since I stopped feeding, I haven't seen them. They were like field mouse. I never saw more than one at a time, but it spooked me.
Interesting.
He saw that you put out the trap for him.
Well, I only put a trap. Yeah, he inspected it. It didn't get in, and I never put it again.
I love that. You have to kind of respect that in a funny way. Like, oh man.
I didn't want to catch him, frankly, because then I would have had to wake up really early to drive him to the forest.
Right.
Yep.
And maybe he's got a family behind.
Yeah, you know, these broken homes. Honestly, I'm not sure I'm like super excited about my color choices here, but I'm just going for it. Whatever. I know that if I don't like this, I can wait a week. Diana's like, why would you wait a week when you can do this in a minute when this dries? So my oil, I can wait a week and then I can work on it some more.
Yes, you can.
Sometimes you need a timeout from your painting.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I need to be away from this painting for a while so I can figure out what I did to it. Sometimes my painting needs a timeout and I need a timeout from each other.
Need a time out at work.
Yeah, right? Why do you need a timeout? Oh, right, just because.
Just frustrating. The problem I had today was extremely frustrating. It's exactly the same type of thing happening at work. Now I got to go back and get into that.
What, and why do you have to do that on a Sunday? Is that just part
Just
of your?
because I'm behind.
Got it. What
And
is
something due next week.
That's what I like about what I do. There's no such thing. I mean, is that you don't pick up where you left off. It's always something new.
Right, because it's news.
Yeah, because and the rhythm is every day different. I like that.
Yeah. I can see that.
I was alone to marketing once for 6 months or 8 months, I think it was. And that's exactly what I hated about it. Every day you picked up where you left off.
And yeah, that problem
It
was
was so boring.
like sort of staring you in the face. Yep.
My paint is very sticky.
It should be. It should be like buttercream icing.
Yep.
Yeah, and the thicker you lay it on, the longer it's going to take to dry. So know that as you're laying it on. So you can do this if you want to. You can do this, right? But it will. The more it's piled on, the longer it's going to take to dry. So if you want to, you can kind of spread it around more, right? To make it a little bit.
And I will get that gal kid you said.
Yeah, Gal Kid Light. Gal Kid Light.
And it's the twos are, that's my lightest of the 3 colors, right?
Really, one is the lightest of your 3 colors?
Oh, the one I sent, I was gonna paint the window panes white.
Yeah, so that's the lightest. And notice what happens, Christina, as you start to layer your colors on top of your reds. You're going to see where the red is dry. It's going to look really neat. Can you see how like little bits of red are popping through? Very vibrant. Maybe you can't see it as well on the camera. So let me take a picture of this so you can see how this base layer is influencing my top layer in a really good way.
Okay.
Like here it is. So at the end, we'll share our final colors. How is that?
You're right, though, in the sense that I never did understand how Diana would put together the colors for things.
There's a method,
gorgeous, but it's not intuitive to me.
It's not intuitive, but it will be. You'll learn it.
Yeah.
You'll learn it. It will be. Once you start learning more about light and dark, how it relates to color, you'll be like, oh. I'm often with Diana like, I'm kind of inspired by that half tone. It's really her half tones. It's the tones that are between light and dark where she's really inspired. And I am often inspired. I'm like, oh my God, I never thought about using that color for a half tone or whatever it is, whatever it is. So it is kind of neat, like, it's inspiring to see and kind of freeing.
Thank Thank you.
Yeah, it's true, Dana. I'm very inspired by your halftones.
Same. All the colors. And people
Halftone is
make
medium,
What's that?
halftone medium?
Halftone is like somewhere between light and dark. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So if one is
Oh, no.
light and 5 is dark, 2, 3, and 4 are halftones. They're in between
Okay.
light, medium, and dark. So that's where Diana's real genius. I mean, she's genius in many ways, but that's like where her kind of color genius really is. She can see she can do many different halftone color combinations. And you'll see them as she starts to kind of splash them in.
Yeah, and I often use like green or blue or turquoise as
Yeah, and pinks, we use
Yeah,
pinks
yeah.
a lot. Like, it's really fun. It's like kind of really fun to see halftones, and it's totally different from how I do it, which is one of the reasons I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I've never even thought about that. It's also why like people who paint together will often start to influence each other, even kind of unconsciously without knowing it. They
for
will,
Sandra.
because you'll start to sort of see, you'll still do your own thing, but you'll be seeing how
Painting a lot of animals.
for a color combination, you'll be like, that's so dang cool. I'm totally doing that.
it's odd. Like people will have these portraits of a face, and the nose is purple and the eyes are strange, but it makes sense. I don't know why.
They say so long as the values are correct, it doesn't matter. Colors.
Yeah, it's the halftones. Christina, I like how you elucidate, how you explain what you're learning. I see what you're doing. You're kind of grasping onto these. Yeah, exactly, Sandra. Because it doesn't matter as long as the values match. But really where the fun comes in is where the halftones are. It's like those that are the surprising ones, right? The kind of fun, surprising ones. And yeah, once you get into it, there's no end to the fun to it, the fun of it.
And question, when you turn it black and white, it's a simple desaturation, right? You're not using like a filter.
No, I'm just turning it into a black and white. I'm not popping anything or pushing anything.
Thank you. I'm learning so much today.
Good, I love it. That makes me very happy.
It's so fun that you're spending so much time to.
Yeah.
Right. That helps because you'll be able to remember and apply all the things, right, that you're learning.
Well, I can do it today too, but the boyfriend's out of town. But generally, I'm on weekends. I'm busy doing something with him and the kids, or.
Yeah.
But I'll make time. This is fun.
You'll become like Julia, who had just asked her boss to go part-time.
Just so she could paint more.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
And I know, I was like, oh God, you didn't tell them that. I just got money from your boss. Don't tell them that. Don't say it's directly related to the art class. She totally did. I was like, oh no. But that's of course really awesome. I'm just kind of joking.
But it's not that boss, so.
It's not that boss. I think it's probably a up higher boss.
But how is it? But is Janet also going full-time painting?
She will eventually, but I think there's a 10-year trajectory there, right? I mean, she still has to work her full-time job, but she definitely has when she retires, when she's able to retire, we'll go to full-time painting.
Wow.
I want to do that.
You're on the way. You're on the way. You're on the way.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of stuck for those 5 years.
For now, yeah, but it's okay because
I have more to learn.
for most people, going to become a painter is like a 10-year trajectory. I mean, a professional painter who, you can make your living or your avocation or can like, if you have to in any way make your living like I do, it took me 10 years of just setting up other things so that I can be a painter. And you know what? I still have months where I'm like, I need to have another job, like a sort of part-time job. So it's rough, like, or I need to kind of push, like, it's just always.
Yeah, you have to have your art school has to be like expanded so you can live on that.
So I can live on that more, right? Like, yeah, and there's room to expand it because there's definitely room in these classes. We could easily have like 10 more people in this class. It would not really effectively change the class that much.
Madame Leah's art school.
Madam Leah's art school.
Madame Leah's art school. Isn't that what everyone said?
What they're referring to, those of you who don't know, is that I have a friend who I met in Budapest. He's from the Republic of Georgia. His name's Lotto. He lives in Brooklyn now. But he was one of my first art teachers when I went abroad. I went abroad to learn about painting, and Lotto became a friend and also taught me about art. And I mean, at that time, I really had very little traditional training. And he was like, Leah, one day you go back and you teach Madam Leah's art school.
Madam
Are you
Leah's
still
art
in
school.
touch with him? You
Yes,
should tell him you've done it.
Academy. Yes, I have. I taught his kid this summer. So he knows.
Oh, wow.
He's like, yeah, I even like had his kid in my classes for a while. He knows. We're kind of in touch all the time. And I'm always kidding him. I'm like, hey, now I'm Madam Leah's. Like, the Russian, like who immigrates to England and starts a ballet school or something like that. Yeah, if I could get Diana at least two more companies to, kind of pay the full fee, I think that would cover a year and keep everybody that we have now. I think that would cover it. And then everything else is just gravy, right? Like, everything else. So that's my hope. I'm not gonna say anything else on the recording, but some good news came from a couple of quarters. So there's people I'm talking to.
Good.
Who I think would make great additions.
Good.
We're hoping, Tosh, to get more Huffington Post people in, right? Like, that would be really neat to get some more Huffington Post. We haven't had any Huffington Post people. That's part of BuzzFeed right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's options. There's like ways for cost sharing and all of that stuff. And every one of my private students, there's about 15 private students. Pat's a private student. Joe is a private student. Most private students are like, how can I get my company to pay for this so I don't have to? It's kind of is an incentive to do it. So no pressure, Joe. I'm not expecting you to do that. And of course, Pat, you're not in a company anymore. So That's
interesting.
Yeah. It would be interesting to get the city to do that. I don't know. I don't see.
They do wellness classes and stuff.
I mean, it's all.
It's a wellness class. This is totally wellness.
It's all paid out of. It's
Really
all
is.
paid out of
For me,
wellness
anyway.
budgets. That's absolutely true. It's all paid out of wellness budgets. And it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a doctor, a neurologist here locally, and he was saying to me the other day something about how hard it was to connect via Zoom. And I was like, you know what? Some of my students have become really good friends with each other, and they do not live at all in the same place. I brought up Sandra and Diana and Olga in Ukraine. Like, you guys spend a fair amount of time hanging out. But the other example I brought up was we had a student named Anuja for a while, who's in New Delhi, and Anuja's aging cat got lost.
He escaped.
Yeah, escaped. And recently, and if you were follow her on Facebook, which we all do, you all knew. And so we're all like, and I found myself staying awake at night worrying about.
Yeah, because it's a long.
I know, like but like, so it's not, I feel like we are connecting. Like anyway, and then what was really funny, Sandra, is that one of my students yesterday, Rebecca, who I was painting with, said, "What happened to Anuja's cat?" People all over the world are worried about Anuja's cat. And by the way, Bopla did make it home. They did find him. But like, the whole point is, I think if I'm staying awake worrying about, Sandra, your health,
That's in India.
like Bopla, is Bopla home in New Delhi? Like, I think that means like the connection has happened, right? Even though we are not in person, it's possible to connect. And he was like listening because he loves cats, especially. So when I told him about Bopla, he was like, now he's like, did Bopla make it home?
Who's that?
My friend, the neurologist, who was saying you can't connect on Zoom. I'm like, oh yeah, Bopla made it home. Bopla made it home. Don't worry. Everybody was worried about Bopla, but he made it home. He's all right. Anuja posted a video of him eating cat food on Facebook.
Oh my God.
And he was like, I'm
Oh
sorry.
yes, he must have been hungry. Wherever he was, he hadn't found food.
Yeah. Ooh, this is exciting, Tosh. All right. So in 10 minutes, we're going to do the big reveal. I know you guys, I'm actually not excited about this at all. So I may just let it dry and paint over it next week. But in about 10 minutes, we are going to reveal your colors on Facebook on WhatsApp, and I will send across the original colors of this particular painting. So you will see what the original colors were.
In the meantime, I'll send you my strange looking photo.
Bring it over. That's
Maybe just in the awkward face.
Thing is messed up, but that's okay.
No, it's not mixed.
There's the edges, where are we? Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
Sunday art class, right? Here's my guy.
Let's see your guy. Oh, he's coming. Let's put it this way, Sandra. Everything's in the right places and you haven't gone too dark anywhere. So this is all.
I did.
It's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be great. Just keep working. Just keep pushing it. You've got it. You've got it. And I like where his nose is. Here's something that I think is new for you. Getting the nose in relation to the eyes. Perfect.
What I did right was, and you pointed this out before, and then Diana explained more about the front being darker.
Yeah.
Looking more like a box.
Right.
I managed to get that.
Yes, it looks great. But also you got it in the right position.
Well, that's because I had to check.
Or lengthen. It's easier to shorten than lengthen the nose too much with animals. We don't put it. So it's looking great. You're in good shape. You will, those of you who have heard us, Diana, say the awkward phase, that is really true. It is the awkward, there is an awkward phase to a drawing or painting where nothing really, like I would say this painting right now is in an awkward phase for me. I'm like, nah, I'm not really liking how things are going yet, but I can totally fix it. There's a difference between it being in an awkward phase and being unfixable, right? So your paintings have to look kind of ugly before you can make them look good. And you have to get used to what that looks like, right? So that it doesn't freak you. Some people freak out when they don't have everything right.
Continue.
And so what happens is people will get halfway through something and then they'll decide. So the amateur will get halfway through something and then decide, oh, I don't like this, I'm going to start over. That's what the amateur does. But the trained painter looks at it and goes, okay, what do I need to do to fix this? And that's the difference, right? Like you have to be really comfortable for the painting to look like this right here, right now, before you can get exactly what you want out of it. I'm probably going to even change the color of this thing on the top layer. I think I'm pretty much going to do that. So, but I have to wait a week for that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if what I should do is like make the last session of each month painting catch up, because other people are going to have paintings, so that we don't have a new lesson, but you have paintings that you're working on. I think we might do that because I know everybody's got paintings that they're working on.
I would love that.
That's looking great. Looking so good.
I screwed up this. But
How do you do it?
fix it. I'll fix it, but I screwed it up.
Yeah, so it's in the awkward phase.
I screwed it up.
Awkward phase. All right, we're getting to the point. Take 5 more minutes, and then I want you to take a picture of your painting in color, wherever it is, and send it over.
Bye.
Yeah, that fox is going to be great. You're going to be. It's going to be like, Sir.
Probably.
Sir. It's going to be like Sir Arthur. All right. Oh, so what are you working? Are you working on his forehead?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just get a little bit more raggedy with the.
Yeah.
And also remember that I'm not sure where the light's coming from, but if the light's coming kind of from midsection.
You know, it's taken in his office, and he has a studio where lights, there are 2 skylights, there are lights from 3 sides. So he has lights all around.
So here's the thing you need to remember. This plane of the forehead, and I'm going to actually,
I can't see it.
I'm going to pat a spotlight so you can see me. So this plane of the forehead, so there's 2 sort of directions of the, actually, it's not true, there's 4. So there's this one, right, which stops about here. And then there's this one, which goes back. If you look at it from the side, you can really see it here, and then it goes back. So there's a very specific, and if he's got skylights coming down, this is definitely going to be lighter about here. Sandra, by the way, that's the same thing that we're talking about when we're talking about the nose. You can see it from the side more. It's light to here, and then the nose turns in.
Right.
Right? So then it's dark. So it's light to here, and then it's dark.
Totally get it now.
But when you're looking at it, yeah, so now you get to see it in all its different forms. Right? And then, yeah. And then of course there's also, Diana, don't forget it, there's these sides too, which are also slightly different. So I always like to look at what's happening here, what's happening here, and then what's happening up here, because this is where the light catches the most.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going back to that. He has a kind of funny shade on our right side there. That's why I put the green there, but it didn't work. It did not work.
Right.
So I have to find another color combination. But it's good that you're pointing out the thing with the forehead.
Yeah, just because that's like one of those areas and we don't necessarily notice it. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but front, we think of this face as one flat thing, but it isn't flat. It's a sphere, and you can see this. You can really see it because I have a light kind of coming over the top of my head. But what you can see is the light stops here, and that's because this part of the skull actually shifts direction. So this is going straight down, and then this kind of slants. And so because of that, just like a cube, their light hits in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course there's also the hair coming into the skull, which is slightly invading. There's all kinds of things going on there. That's a really important transition area.
And I mean, this photo is so bad. I mean, it's like one of those stupid selfies. Selfies.
Yeah, so everything's a little bit elongated. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I know. All right, now I want you to take, everybody, stop at what you're doing and take a picture and send it across. And I will, and send it across in color. Now I want to see it in color. And I'm going to send you what this painting looks like for reals. No, wait,
Hang on.
messages. Gallery. Oh, no, really? Come on. Oh, come on. Come on.
Here.
Where are you? Oh, maybe I just took it in black and interesting. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna have to pull it up. Remove my spotlight here and then.
Mm.
Yeah, it's there. Why am I not? That's really interesting.
I think your fox is gonna be fine, Sandra. It looks
Yeah,
like-
she's got everything.
I don't know. That's what it looks like now. Can you see it, Diane? It's on the screen.
Oh, it's on the screen, sorry. Let me put you in gallery view so I can see. Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be what it's gonna be, I guess.
It's gonna
With
be,
some mistakes.
fine.
It's mine.
I have yet to do a good fox.
So here's the original colors of this painting.
Where?
I just sent it on the thread. Oh, Todd, that's looking great. That's looking fun. These are the original colors. I just sent them over. Todd, we've seen Tasha's. Pat, nice. All right, Joe, let's see yours. It doesn't matter if you're not finished.
Still looking for colors.
How fun. So Pat, did you start with the green?
Yeah, I did. And
But look at how beautiful and vibrant that red is on top of that green. Okay, Christina. Okay, Pat. Okay, Joe, send them over. I don't care what, like where they're at. You can keep working on them. Oh, nice, Joe. I like it. You're just doing the color studies. That looks great.
Yeah,
Looks wonderful.
Hang on.
I know, right, Tosh? They're all just great. So,
Oh, what? Leah's is so nice.
well, I do this for a living. Thank you.
Mine didn't quite, I lost the green in the middle.
It's coming along. It's coming along. It looks great. The values look good. So that is, yeah. So those are the original colors. These ones. Yep. But you see why I didn't want you guys to see them right away. I wanted you to see them later in the process. So, you know, I didn't want to influence the colors that you would pick. And I think that's really neat. Yeah, I can't, I'm not really happy with this. I'm gonna fix it and change it. So for those of you working in oil, just find a place to put this. All right, Lana. Yeah, looks great, Lana. See, you kind of went for the colors that I chose anyway, slightly different, but looks great. Wonderful. Oh, how fun. Look at these. All of these are totally different, but they're working. They're working. So if you're working in oil, you're going to want to let this, oh, who else do we have here? Let's see. Eugene, yeah. This is awesome. Eugene always does really epic skies. Those are really great. This is really fun.
Watercolor?
Yeah, Eugene, are you working in watercolor or what are you working in? Anyway, tell us. Sometimes Lana has, sometimes her phone works and sometimes it doesn't. Watery acrylic. Very nice, Eugene. Super great. Super. Super. So yeah, you're just gonna keep working. You guys are just gonna keep working on this. If you want to, we'll just work on this more next week. And maybe we won't do a lesson properly unless I have somebody else come in who hasn't worked on this, but we will just work on all the paintings. So Pat, I know you've got a couple. Joe,
Yeah.
you can work on this next week. Eugene and Lana, if you want to keep working on this, we can, I mean, you can also totally work on it during the week. You can, or you can work on it after class. That is okay. I just want, like, you know, you guys to have time to catch up on some of the final touches of these paintings. This is really awesome. And I like it. Everybody's still just working.
Yeah, I gotta go because I got company coming.